Hello and welcome to Whyte Label Advice. My name is Brooke McNeely. I am the VP of Marketing here at Whyte Spider, and I am joined today with some of our familiar faces. Is Zan Jones? Is this open? No, that's the wrong one.
I'll take it.
There's Zan Jones, and he's cool. He's been here a lot. He lives here.
It's been so long. There's
like
crickets.
I forgot.
No, it's a calm, peaceful summer night.
It is, yeah. I'm like, it's Zan. There's Zan came, but also our first time in the studio is Sergio.
Yeah.
What's up?
There we go.
So welcome here. This is fun. So you finally get to see the studio. You get to hear the sound effects, and you get to have fun in the podcast studio. How are you, Serge? How's it going?
Great. I'm loving it. Having a great time.
Awesome. And for the people that haven't seen any of your other podcasts, why don't you give them your most current title?
I am Director of Enablement right now. So just training everybody, basically. Yes. If you haven't been trained by me, set up a call. I'll train you on something.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. And Zan, what are you? You are still a Director of Solutions?
Same old. So yours
hasn't changed.
Still helping brands figure out how to win on Walmart.com.
There we go. Yep. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for being here. And Serge, this is just for you.
Get ready.
That's amazing.
Get ready for some awesome podcasting. So today we want to talk about just kind of Walmart.com, just kind of like what are some of the hidden barriers and hidden opportunities on Walmart.com that suppliers might not even realize are there. So Walmart is a complex ecosystem. What makes Walmart so unique when compared to other retailers?
Yeah, I think one big thing is that Walmart really loves to curate that experience for the customer. We didn't mention it, maybe we mentioned it in past episodes, but I used to work at Walmart. And what you get is a true sense of that customer mindset before you even think about putting something on a shelf or, selling it on Walmart.com. There is that hyper focus on how is this going to be perceived, at what price does it need to be at, how are we going to get it to the customer in a reasonable time frame. And along with that territory comes a lot of rules, and for good reason, about what content should look like, how things need to be packaged. And I think at the end of the day, the reason it can be a little complicated and the reason there can be so much structure you don't know about is because there's that customer end game in mind.
All right. Zan, you have anything to add?
Yeah. I also think there's just a ton of moving parts. They're adding things, they're taking things away. So staying on top of all of that can kind of be extremely cumbersome. And, that's where we can come in and make sure that you're staying on the up and up, and whatever new innovations are on the horizons, we're able to help our clients capitalize on that.
So it's like they're the largest retailer in the world.
Yeah.
So there's lots of moving parts.
They're an omni retailer. Not every retailer you support is going to function from an in-store and .com perspective like Walmart. So you have to take that into consideration when and while you're supporting that business.
That's a huge point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my only further comment. Good, great point.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's talk about the visibility that suppliers do have. So when it comes to like your .com business, what is the visibility that suppliers have? I mean, they still get to see a lot of what's going on.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of this information in the Retail Link portal. So whether you're going into Item 360 and dealing with content, checking on how your published items are doing. You could also jump into the more advanced Retail Link tools and pull raw data about inventory. And so that is available as it stands right now on Walmart.com. And obviously, you have that merchant relationship, and your merchant will be able to give you a ton of really helpful insights for steering the business in the right direction.
All right. Dan, you have anything to offer? Anything to add?
I think we're going to talk about this later, but I just think Sergio made a lot of great points, and that we can just come behind that with some additional horsepower to make sure that, again, we're putting the brands we're supporting best foot forward all the time. So there's going to be a merchant strategy. There's going to be a in-store strategy that we need to make sure everything's kind of lining up, and we can truly complement that merchant strategy from a .com perspective. So.
Nice. Yeah. That's good. So what are some of the things they can't see? So what are some of the things that suppliers might not be able to see, but is really helpful to know?
Yeah, a big thing sort of where I like to start is that foundational content piece. So they might be able to see roughly their scores, They might be getting a note from their merchant that says, hey, we want to see that score get up above 95%, but there may not be a ton of literature on how to do that. Or even if there is literature, what are the specific things for my catalog that I can do? And so that can be really frustrating, because you're saying, okay, I have a 90% score. I want to get up to 95 content health. How do I do that? How do I do that quickly? And how can I make sure that any new item I set up also comes with the right information, so that we don't have to build our way up from 90? We can just come out of the gate swinging at 95%.
What do you think, Dan?
I guess my head goes a little bit different direction, that there are barriers that are kind of put in front of brands that as a connected content partner, we're able to visualize and just help make sure that brands are able to put best in class PDPs forward, and that there's really no hurdles. So we're able to remove those with our being a connected content partner. So, that's really the last point. Sergio kind of hit the nail on the head there, but I do think there's one more portion, that there are hurdles that are going to be thrown your way, and by partnering with us, we can really help get over those much quicker.
That's awesome. So what are some of the missed opportunities? So let's talk about here's the barriers, but what are the opportunities that come out of these? So it's like, if you can see the hidden barriers, you can be like, okay, I can figure out how to increase my content scores. I can increase, kind of anything that's going on. What opportunities does that create for the supplier?
For sure. I like to think about it. We'll start again with content, but then I'll, move away from content. I just like to live there a lot of the time. But with content, I think a big part of it is understanding that the better your score, the better you're going to be able to promote your product, the more real estate you're going to get on site. And this missed opportunity translates, obviously into dollars and cents. The higher up on the page you are, the better score you have, the more customers you're gonna convert, obviously. But then there's also that qualitative aspect of your customer is just gonna have a great time buying your product. They're not gonna have any questions because all the content is there. They're not gonna have any, doubts about what other people think about this product, because they have all their ratings and reviews there. And they have high quality images. So they don't have any buyer's remorse. They know exactly what they're buying, and they will be satisfied with the product with that really great content background. The other part of that is, there's some barriers in just transactability off the bat. Some clients run into this issue where their item has an error and they have no way to figure out what is going on with this product. And that's basically taking yourself out of the game. That's basically like, instead of putting the item on the shelf, you have it in the back storeroom. Maybe it's not even loaded off the truck, as far as the customer is involved. And something we can help leverage is getting that item up on the shelf so that it can play ball and generate incremental revenue, and turning all those switches on.
Mm-hmm. Sam?
He nailed it. I mean, I think from, our client's perspective, really it's how are we helping them achieve relevancy kind of from a category perspective and whatever they play. And to his point, it's more traffic, more sales. Like what might work for a brand today, they might be in a different spot on Walmart.com. And we can help distinguish that difference and put together a plan based on really where they are today within their Walmart.com business.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think a lot of this kind of ties into your advertising plans too, So how do fixing all of these little maybe hidden barriers, how does it turn into opportunities for your advertising as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think Walmart, again, back to sort of the curation piece, they're not just going to let anybody know Joe Schmo just like advertise on the top spot. There is a good amount of work that goes into making sure that you are even able to show up and bid. And so it isn't, like other retailers where you can just pay for the top spot and it's pay to play, and that's a huge part of your budget. Really, that organic part should also be a focus for a lot of our suppliers, because you're not getting into the show unless you have that, ticket for admission, in this case, 95% content health, or, whatever the category may be.
Yeah. Sam?
I think we have this conversation a lot with potential customers and clients of, hey, there's this recipe that you kind of need to follow from a Walmart perspective that is more of a playbook than other retailers. And again, I think it goes back to that omni approach of Walmart has this great foundation of in-store excellence, and we're trying to expand that from an e-commerce standpoint. So, I think that's where we have ex-merchants that are on the team that can really help guide the strategy that, maybe they aren't right for media at the very beginning. Maybe it's, to Sergio's side, an organic play at first, but knowing when to bring in and how to bring in that media side at the right time so it's most impactful is really where Whyte Spider tries to be efficient and good stewards of the funds we're managing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to talk about Whyte Spider. And so we're talking about all of these things, all of this like hidden stuff behind the scenes that we can see. And so, why is it that we have like this visibility and just able to, how do we know all these things, right? So people will be like, well, I mean, it's hidden. How do you know? Right.
We have ex merchants on the team. We have a ton of them who know, some data that might look like, a alphabet soup to somebody. To us, we know exactly what to look for, and we're able to make sense of something that previously was, undecipherable. And so we sort of have the Rosetta Stone from Walmart because we have those former employees, pitching in and saying, actually, that means X, Y, and Z. And that's, just a massive advantage.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Sam?
I would also add to that generally speaking, our breadth of knowledge just widens every single month as we have these engagements with clients to say, we learned this month. How can we then take this to a different category or a different client? So I would say that every month we're learning new things. Again, we have a strong foundation, but whenever you get in the weeds like that, you become extremely knowledgeable very fast to try to solve for X. And that's where I think we just head and shoulders above everyone is we want to help you solve your problems and we want to do it efficiently.
Yeah. And I'll just add one more thing is that a lot of our clients are being invited for the alphas and the betas and the test pilot programs. But sometimes it's really helpful to just have somebody in the room that you can turn to and say, what question do I ask to make sure this goes smoothly and that we stay at the top of the list where we are getting tapped for these really great opportunities. And that's something that we, again, from all of our interactions with clients, we do have the expertise to say, okay, we should probably have X, Y, and Z in order before we participate in this pilot program, just so we get the best bang for our buck. And we also keep that great reputation with Walmart because that merchant relationship, again, is super, super useful and super important.
Mm-hmm. That's really exciting. Thank you, guys. So this is my last question. And just to reiterate what you guys were talking about. So you're basically saying Whyte Spider can be the solution to all of your Walmart.com needs. Is that what you're trying to say, or is that what you're really saying?
I think we're in a roundabout way saying exactly that.
Yay!
I didn't get chirps.
Right button.
I'll take it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we see it every single day. All these small wins we have, but I have some examples, generally speaking, why Whyte Spider has been able to really stay on top of the Walmart e-commerce space. And, there's certain levers you can pull. I think what Whyte Spider does very well is we know when to pull the right levers. And those levers sometimes change. I think a good example of that with a client recently is variation. Management when it comes to advertising is now a thing. So for a customer advertising, that prohibited them on certain items or maybe how we had those items grouped together. We can now flip that strategy on its head based on the customer and how they were positioned. And now with that new lever they're able to pull from a variation advertising perspective, it does a 180 on itself. So great example of how we're staying on the up and up, and we really want to make sure that we're doing what's best for Walmart.com and best for the brand so that there's kind of a cohesive message there to help everyone win.
For sure. Even this week, same sort of deal where a client was unsure how to move forward with the varianting process, what they're going to do in this new ecosystem. And something that was just valuable to them was just hearing the history of how Walmart has dealt with this. And because we have that just years and years of experience working with variant groups and how they behave on Walmart, we were even able to say, hey, listen, we don't know what the answer is, but we have all these questions laid out in front of us, and we want to share that with you. These are our these are the things we're worried about. These are the things we're hopeful about. And that sort of engagement, it gives you the solution, or I'm sorry, it maybe fails to give you the solution, but it gives you the toolkit, and it makes you feel, that you're in good hands when that change does come about, that the solution will come in time, and that you're, with the right people to be on the job.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.
Woo!
All right, yeah.